Good morning and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our second Fintech Friday session of 2024. My name is Karyl, and we have an amazing panel of experts with us today for a great discussion. So before we start, just a couple of notes. Keep your microphones on mute, and please make sure you rename yourself to include your name and your company name so that we can identify you when you actually ask questions. We will be offering interpretation services to Spanish. To join the interpretation service, please click on the interpretation icon, which is a globe at the bottom of your Zoom screen. In case you are on a mobile or on a tablet, click the three dots and you will find the service there. And then you choose your preferred language. You can choose to mute the original audio if you would like to. So any participant who wishes to listen in Spanish must select Spanish. And then those who do wish to listen in English, I would recommend to choose specifically the English channel. In case there's any question that asks in Spanish, you will at least hear the live interpretation to English at the time. So the business case for serving women with better financial services is clear, with women expected to own 75% of the discretionary spending by 2028, control over 216 trillion in wealth globally. We have over 400 million women, entrepreneurs around the world who have the potential to grow their business, add value to their company, create jobs, but they lack the financing to achieve their goals. So that actually results in a credit gap valued at 1.7 trillion, with a potential economic impact of up to $6 trillion. Our research into fintechs and the female economy a couple of years back showed that fintechs are leaving money on the table by not being gender intelligent. The gender gap in fintech usage is a whopping 27.6%. That means that for every 100 men who use fintechs, only 72 to 73 women use fintech products. That's 3 times greater than the gap in access to a formal account and represents a massive unserved and underserved market, which fintechs are uniquely positioned to support. So some of the main reasons why we have this high gender gap is, one, that many fintechs by default target the younger men, considering them to be the early adopters. As a result, their solutions actually speak to and reach more men than women. Second, there's a limited lack of research and understanding of the different behaviors and needs, in particular of women. And so women and men, we know that they process information and decisions and they make decisions differently. So if you ignore such nuances when you're designing your own user experience, then it's going to cause more women either to not, to drop off actually from different stages of your journey. And then finally, there is a little part that's on the investor side as well, because all of the gender lens and focus that you have at an investor side is missing the focus on on serving women actually, and is focusing on women representation in company leadership and D&I. So it is a little bit skewed towards only one side, being diversity and inclusion. So our analysis found that by increasing their female customer conversion rates to levels equal to male conversion rates, fintechs can actually have up to 70% increase in revenues. So the objective of our session today is to actually look at the initial stages of a sales funnel, namely the awareness, the consideration, to address the barriers women face and hear from fintechs, 3 amazing fintechs actually, on the various gender differentiated approaches and efforts they have undertaken to actually attract women clients, to recruit them, and then to convert them to actual clients. So without further ado, I want to introduce my amazing panel of speakers. First, Erin Louw, I hope I said it right, Executive for People and Culture at TymeBank. Then we have Ifeoma Uddoh, founder and CEO of Shecluded in Nigeria, TymeBank in South Africa, and then Patricia Florencia, founder and CFO of Pilou in Mexico. And I want to say just a quick highlight. Pilou just won this year's Alliance Hack 2024. TymeBank and Time Group actually had won our first edition of Alliance Hack, and Shecluded is the silver runner-up of our Alliance Hack a couple of years back. So amazing to have all of you here with us. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I am going to put you ladies up front, and we're going to kick off this session. Patricia, Can I ask you to please? Yeah, there we go. I found you. There we go. Okay, so Erin, I'm going to start with you. And just a quick background maybe on Time, just for everyone. So Time is a neobank in South Africa that reached the extraordinary result and milestone of being profitable in December after just 5 years of operation. It reaches, well, at least when I was writing this, it had reached 10.8 million customers globally, but the growth is so fast that you might have exceeded that number by now. Over 54% of TymeBank's customers in South Africa are women. In some products, such as Time's Buy Now, Pay Later, it even reaches 71%. So I actually have a question that I'm going to ask all three of you, but I'll present each company separately. What effective marketing campaigns and tactics has TymeBank put in place to attract women clients?
Karyl, firstly, thank you for inviting us here. I think in preparation for today, this was as fun for me as I hope that it's going to be for the rest of the guys online. You really had me thinking here. I think for me, well-positioned marketing campaigns are only as good as the positioning and the research around the product. And I think it starts there. You cannot have a campaign in the absence of having a product that is suited to the market. And I think this is what TymeBank has done exceptionally well. So when you think about women's needs and behaviors and understanding what that is, as a digital bank, we were already well positioned, accessible online, always on, which kind of in a time-starved environment where women need to be able to do these things when they do have time, we're already well positioned to do that. So then for us, thinking about how do we tailor the messaging around the different products, we are absolutely set up. So a lot of things that we found through the research that women are passionate about is savings, investments, the flexibility around buy now, pay later products. So even though those were our go-to-market products, it was already set up and geared towards unlocking the female economy. So, I mean, the touch points almost became self-fulfilling throughout that journey. And we then back that up. So in TymeBank, we've got the retail banking side, and then we've got the business banking side. And most of my years' experience actually sitting on the business banking. And when I look at women entrepreneurs, providing them with a networking community that was able to serve them, engage, support, helped us a lot to get them to have that peer consultation and peer education. So the marketing campaigns is more around how do we educate them around the financial services product to get them comfortable with a product, and not doing that as a push, but more as a pull and as a peer education that builds trust and loyalty in itself. So financial services in the absence of financial banking for women entrepreneurs in the absence of that networking community makes it a lot harder because you need to do all of the education yourself. And we found that level of engagement created a massive connection to the brand. And then I think when you get to almost be bold in your campaigns around empowered financial education, so looking past testimonials and case studies to think about how do we become a little bit more aggressive around creating confidence. So women need to have confidence to engage with a financial product. And that financial independence, speaking to that financial independence that they end up developing by engaging with the brands, allows them to start unlocking more opportunities. So it is not something, I mean, you can hack it to a certain extent by putting more and more communication out there, but also then it just becomes noise. I mean, we're all very exposed to a lot of noise that's out there. So you need to find those real-time touch points where women get to speak to each other about it too. And that really served us well over the last few years.
Amazing. Thank you for that, Erin. On to Ifeoma. So Shecluded is Africa's first female-focused fintech company that provides debt and equity capital to women in business through its tailored financial products, training, incubation, and accelerator programs, advocacy efforts, capacity development initiatives, and an exclusive focus on gender lens investing. So, Ifeoma, what effective marketing campaigns and tactics has Shecluded put in place to attract female clients?
Okay, so when we started Shecluded, I was motivated to start Shecluded just on the basis of the fact that I'd been in seed funding, and I quickly realized that a lot of women were not being funded. And I felt that the gap for women entrepreneurs was access to finance. Because, you know, with all the hard work, if you don't have finance, your capacity is limited. And I started Shecluded. Being from a tech background, my first guest was to build this fantastic product and ship it to the market. And I was surprised when the women were not coming. And I was thinking to myself, what's happening here? I mean, these women need me and they need money. And I found out that they were just not coming. And I started I remember the first time I was talking to somebody to say, where do I find a large number of women? And they say, go to Instagram. And I'd never been to Instagram before then. So I log onto Instagram and I see them. I see so many women. And I started looking out for business women and I started chatting them to say, hey, hi, we're doing this. And the first thing that I learned is that women don't want another technology. They want their products to be solved. So saying, go and apply on the fancy sites that we did not get them budget, but communicating to them in a way to say, hey, I see your business. I think that if you have another machine that is of bigger capacity, that you can sell more. And that's what we did. And I found out that communication matters. So for example, when we started saying, go and take a loan to a class of women that we wanted to work with, we noticed that that didn't work. When we said, take a loan for a new machinery, they got it. When we said, take a laptop loan, they got it. When we said, take a loan to buy a breast pump, they got it. So we quickly changed to start having a problem-solving communication approach when we deal with women. That's one thing that I noticed from women. They just want to solve their problem. No, they're not interested in anything fancy. Another thing that caught us in trying to get more women in tune, because when we talk about acquiring women, is we quickly realized that women are not just one homogeneous block. So you need to quickly segment to know the kind of women you want to attract and where to find them. And the easiest way and the smoothest way we found was lifestyle. A lot of women like lifestyle, and we found out that sometimes just partnering and doing something with one lifestyle brand that has the target market or has most of the target market that we're looking for was very, very effective for us. Then another thing that worked for us in acquiring women is that when you were reading our bio and I saw capacity building and I saw this. No, we didn't start out as that. I purely wanted to do a credit company for women entrepreneurs. And I started saying that access to information was as important as access to finance. There are people that, I mean, if you do Shecluded on LinkedIn, there are people that, you know, have these amazing reviews about us. And no, we didn't give them money. We just gave them access to information. So I found out that access to information and just being interested in capacity development for the women folks that you're trying to serve gives you a long life commitment. Like, women are loyal. They give you a long life, you know, commitment that we've leveraged. So that's how the capacity building came for us. And for us as a fintech company that deal with credit, it also helps us because it increases your understanding of credit. It makes you, you know, repay your loan faster. And yes, I think that's a nice place to stop.
Perfect. Thank you so much. On to Patricia and Pilou. So Pilou, I don't know. I think you say Pilou, right?
Pilou.
Pilou.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Pilou is Latin America's first digital savings and investment platform led by women for women. The platform addresses the financial inclusion gap by offering personalized financial education and investment tools with diversified investment portfolios managed in a transparent and low-cost manner. And Pilou is also the winner of our Alliance hack, as I mentioned. So, Patricia, what effective marketing campaigns and tactics has Pilou put in place to attract female clients?
So thank you, Karyl, and hi, everyone. So glad to be here. As mentioned, I'm Patricia Florencia. I'm from Mexico. I'm the founder and CFO of Pilou, and I've been working over 15 years in the financial industry. I've worked at Credit Suisse, at BlackRock, among other financial institutions. And 4 years ago, Andrea, my co-founder, and I founded Pilou. So that's a tough question, Karyl. And I've been taking notes. I mean, I love Erin's and Ifeoma's answers, so I'm taking notes here. So I guess there's no single strategy, and also probably depends on the stage that your startup or the organization is at. But I would definitely say that Pilou's marketing strategy focuses on education and community building, as mentioned by my peers, which are obviously, I mean, key to attracting and retaining female customers. So what we have been doing is we host financial seminars, we host workshops and webinars that are specifically tailored for women, and often in partnership with major institutions or even with universities and women's organizations. So we've also leveraged from word of mouth marketing through our satisfied clients who share obviously their success stories. And we also create engaging content through, podcasts. We've participated in a lot of podcasts and several other, like campaigns and social media channels that like really resonates with our target audience. So we're constantly, emphasizing financial empowerment and the importance of investing in long-term security. So we know this because we have lived this problem firsthand, that women in Latin America, they lack financial education, they lack time, and as mentioned, they lack confidence to invest in their own. So all of the financial products and services out there are made, managed, and targeted for men. So there is a massive gender gap in financial autonomy. And this has triggered like abuses such as domestic violence. And this is a problem that women often don't even recognize. I mean, we're giving visibility to this problem and handing them a solution. I would say this is through education and community building, we are like incentivizing them to begin their journey as investors. And this, this multifaceted approach has proven effective in drawing women to Pilou platform.
Amazing. And you may be on the earlier part of the journey as a fintech, but I mean, definitely you have a lot of the stuff, right? Especially working with partners. I think that's a great way of really being able to source women clients. So Erin, I want to come back to time. And a big problem that we know women have is registration and onboarding. So because it can be a very daunting experience if the form is long and the language is technical, or there's too much documentation required. It's just too much work, right? So how has Time addressed this problem?
What documentation, Karyl?
We don't need that.
Teasing, but I mean, as a digital bank, of course, we don't do paper, so we don't do documentation, and I think it's an important and it's a bold statement to make. So absolutely, as a digital bank, we are passionate about making sure that all of the experience engagement, I mean, we're branchless and paperless. It's like, are we even a real bank? And I think that's been one of the biggest challenges we've had, is around creating and breaking down the perception around being a real bank. And when it comes to onboarding, it's very important, especially for women, to trust the financial institution. And breaking down those psychological or institutional barriers is very important during the onboarding process. And we have to start that very early. And I think one of the most fascinating conversations I had with women during our 18 months of research on Xena was that they say that when they started having the financial conversations, we have to understand it's their first time. It's their first engagement around financial services, investments, savings. They've not necessarily been exposed to or grown up in an environment where this was just spoken about or discussed with them. So we have to be patient with them during that process. They need to consider, they need to understand, and they want to make an informed decision. So women are incredibly resourceful. They do not mind admin. They'll research something to death. So they will go and they'll look at every single available product online in order to know that they're making the right decision. So making sure that you're the partner or the solution provider that they're onboarding to is not something that you can just fascinating for me or a big learning curve. Look at traffic throughout our engagement journey or our onboarding journey was to see that up to 70% versus 30% of women would come onto our landing pages and financial services web pages. Once we went into the online application process, it would go to 50-50, male, female. When it got to the checkout or the submission of or application to the financial service product, we had the inverse, 30-70. So 70% male, 30%. What has told me that women do not there to find the information. So I think we make a lot of effort in creating bespoke and tailored marketing campaign strategies, right? We segmented, but
Erin, you are breaking off a little. Can you check your internet connection?
When we get to the actual on the sorry, am I breaking up?
Yes, you are a
Shucks. Sorry, that's South Africa, right? Sometimes we sometimes have internet issues. It's gonna come back and forth. But yeah, so one of the key things for us was then just to make sure that we covered our 4 C's throughout the onboarding process, is making convenience, super efficient CX, customer experience, and then communication. And I think everybody today has already spoken about communication. It really is important to have a conversation, not just communication, being able to converse with a person on the other side. So as much as the digital journey can be online, it's the human touch. So we don't do paper, but we do people. If a woman needs to start engaging, she will be engaging with an actual human being and have a conversation with a person on the other side that can talk her through the decision-making process. So for us, the other thing that stood out during the onboarding is that because a woman's information is attached to more than a person, so often her home address is where her children live. Because of the predatory behavior online, they're hesitant to capture information in a journey that they don't know is safe or secure. A lot of the conversation was how safe, how secure, who has access to my information. So if you can make sure that you're safe, secure, that you're transparent, that you're available, and that you have that human touch in a mobile first space, I think the conversion part almost is already better than what they will have elsewhere in the industry.
Amazing. I just want to go back just a little because when you were cutting off, when you were talking about the 4 C's. So we got the customer experience, which is the CX. We got the convenience and the communication, but we missed the 4th, which is the first C, choice.
Choice, convenience, customer experience, and communication, which is actually conversations.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So staying in Africa, but moving over to Nigeria, when designing Shecluded, Ifeoma, did you maybe carry out any research into understanding key behaviors women have? And if yes, or if not, how did that impact your design process?
So so for the first website, I didn't. I mean, I just built the normal generic website. And I think for the second one, I started being more conscious. And I did a few research on just women-focused brands in the US. And I asked a number of customers to say, what are you looking at? What's easy for you? Why is the drop-off high? And I started looking across social media to say, what social media has the highest amount of women, and it happened to be Instagram. So quickly I realized that, how do I design a process that captures the information? But I know that women suffer from time poverty, especially in Nigeria. And I know that, I mean, so there's a time that there's this very low interest loan, and somebody told me that, hey, I should apply for it, they'll make sure that I get it. And I started filling the form, and I got to somewhere and I was like, gosh, this form is long, I'll come back to it. And I never did. So I know that, I need to make sure that she gets to the end. So some things that are nice to have, but maybe if I have their national number, I can pull it out. I knew very quickly to remove it from the form. So how do I make the form in a way that it's short and it's easy? What information can I ask at the second stage when maybe can I ask at the second stage that can reduce that process? And I noticed that something that helped was that I made sure that the second stage, you are 89% likely to be contacted by someone. So they liked the feeling of, I'm not doing this alone, there's someone doing it to me. So how do you make sure that you're building a product that, even though it's online, but the woman feels that she has support and she has somebody with her, and the person understands her and the person hears her. So I think that that's something that we try to do when we were building our own product. Thank you.
Perfect. So Pilou is a fintech dedicated to women. Approaching, recruiting women clients remains a big challenge, especially in the investment world. So how do you generate interest in money, savings, investments for women? And how were you able to convert them to actually invest?
Yeah, it hasn't been an easy task, that's for sure. So right now, I mean, in Latin America, less than 1% of women own an investment account. So there's a huge gender gap in financial inclusion, of course. And what we have been doing is we have generated interest by addressing, the unique financial challenges and the goals that these women face. As I mentioned previously, women lack financial education, time, and confidence to invest on their own. So we are doing and providing all of that for them. We are their personal financial manager. And what we also do is create content and hosting events that actually educate women on the importance of financial independence. So we have really positioned Pilou as, a trusted advisor in their financial journey. We have like a very personal and very empathetic approach. So understanding that many women have not had, formal financial education, because, financial education, we haven't seen it, at least in Mexico and Latin America, not in the universities, but you also don't speak about it with your family or with your partners or spouse or partners. So we have made the process of investing like very accessible, I guess, and less intimidating by offering easy to understand, transparent products that are tailored specifically for women. So all of this combined with our focus on, building a supportive community has, of course, like helped convert interest into action and leading women to start investing through Pilou.
Amazing. Amazing. So I want to come back to you, Erin, and to ask you, based on everything you know and everything you've seen with time, so what can fintechs do to improve women's conversions rates? I mean, we know in a way what's worked for you, but I mean, in general, what else do you think you could do or you wish you could do that you can't do at the moment? So would love to hear about that.
What else would I like to do? I mean, that's such a big chasm of stuff that I still want to do. But I mean, I like what you said around interest into action. I think that is a very profound statement. If I have to turn interest into action, I think we have to get better at from a risk modeling point of view, looking at enough data that we don't keep using almost as gender agnostic risk modeling to try and create risk profiles for women products. I think that's the first step. And I know that you need data to make informed decisions, and due to the absence of data, we don't have enough data to make. I get it. I completely get it. But I also think in the world, we've got more data than we might have in our own company. So I think stronger partnerships and collaborations between companies that are aiming to address these needs for women, we should rather collaborate and work together and share the data and in a way that is safe and NDA and everything, but just share what we know to make it better than to try and all solve the same problem on our own on a very small sample size. So I think there's something in that for me that's important. I also think something that most financial institutions haven't solved yet that we have to do as fintechs is get better at pre-populated information. You have the information. Why do you make people continue to over and over capture the same information for every single service and product that they take up? So there's more than enough smart platforms tooling available to just create convenience in and great experiences in that space. I already spoke about the whole human touch element behind it, but I think something that Time has done, and I mean retail or the business banking, retail capital side also have done really well, is creating really strong brand partnerships. If you are able to partner with brands that are complementary to each other and you get the opportunity to embed into their environments, you take the friction out of the journey for the customer. You make it easier for them. And I think that is a secret sauce through the partnerships and smart partnering, known brands, trusted brands, brand partnerships and collaborations allows people to convert and almost building an ecosystem. And I know the word ecosystem is so abused in the industry. I'm still looking for another word. I think there's a lot of smart people on the call here today.
Give it a nice
Somebody
meaning.
just find another word than ecosystem for me. But
you can use ecosystem in a nice way. It's okay.
We need ecosystems, and the ecosystem element to this is there's so many products that are like partners that are complementary to each other, and we're all trying to provide all the same products, and then even having almost the audacity to online compete with each other for digital real estate. So I think in a very, very, very over communicated online environment, creating those partner and product synergies across the different brands is the brands that can get that right in the future is probably going to be the brands that's going to be here in 10, 12 years time.
Amazing. Thank you for those insights. So Ifeoma, women, they're usually hesitant to engage with fintechs they're not familiar with. So what was your secret to attracting women, the building trust and motivating them to embark on a journey? I know it wasn't an easy one.
So I think that women can sense empathy, and they can sense people that really, really care. And frankly, I think for many women, I don't identify as a fintech. I just say, hey, we're a female finance company. I don't know. I don't want another fancy name that makes them feel like they're not qualified. Because here in Africa, there's been a lot of things that sometimes women feel they have to meet up to be among. So I just, for them, I just feel like, hey, we're a finance company for women. And I think that when you really care about the mission, for me, working with women is not just something I'm doing because it's a job. It's because I really, really care about them. And I think that when you have that mindset, I mean, with anybody that's worked with me, they can say, oh, she's crazy, she's a workaholic. They would always tell you that she loves women and she really, really wants to be able to make a change. And I try to make my team realize that you can have so many jobs, but having a job where you see the direct impact to impacting and changing somebody's life. And sometimes when you change a woman's life, you change the life of her children, of her community. So I teach them the ripple effect. So I think that that's one thing, just empathy and communication. And two, believing and researching to say, what are the barriers that women really face? So for us And from my experience, I noticed access to finance, access to information, access to a network, and access to market. Those are the 4 things that I noticed that for a woman, once you're able to break into those assets, many women, I mean, don't even know that they're not, that an access to a network can change their life. So sometimes we put opportunities out to say, hey, there's an accelerator in DC, blah, blah, blah. And some of them are like, hey, there's a grant opportunity. And they say, hey, can I ever get it? And I'm like, yeah, sure, just apply. And I've seen people break down, coming to our office, breaking down, crying that they never thought, nobody has ever given them anything. So I think that worked. Building my team in that way to make sure that they understand it works, understanding the barriers that the women that I want to serve actually face, and doing initiative and activities within those pillars and those barriers to actually help actually did wonders for me. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. And then remaining on the topic of trust, Pilou, so Patricia, I want to come to you. So obviously, trust is one of the biggest hinders, of women's uptake of any type of financial service. So what effort did it take from you and Pilou to build that rapport of trust with women and money and investment?
Sure. First of all, I just want to say that your answers like really resonate with me, and I'm loving it. So for us, I guess building trust with our female clients started with transparency and communication. We always ensure that our products and services are like very straightforward, no hidden fees or complex terms. Education obviously also plays a crucial role in our strategy. I mean, in our dashboard at Pilou, you'll find a lot of financial education so that you can learn alongside us. So by empowering women with knowledge, and that they feel more confident in their financial decisions. So Andrea and I, as female founders, and having a combined industry experience of over 30 years in the financial sector, we have also seen like this repeatedly. We've seen the stories time and time again of women who share, similar experiences and challenges that, of course, also resonates with friends or people that are close to us. So we work like really hard on always making them feel understood, making them feel supported, and we also like engage regularly with our clients, through personalized financial advice or follow-ups and community events that further strengthens this trust. And I believe like it is all about trust and transparency. For instance, in 2022, where the markets, or it wasn't a good year for the financial markets, and we were very close to our clientele, like always communicating what was going on, and that even the markets being down, our clients trusted us and they kept saving and they kept investing because they knew it was like a great opportunity for them to enter the market at the time. So I mean, we know through our years of experience that it's very important not to be afraid, even when things are good or bad, to stay close to your clients and communicate like everything that's going on, and with like full transparency. That has worked very well for us at Pilou.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Now, I have a couple of questions that I want to ask all 3 speakers, but in the meantime, I would love it if the audience can put their questions in for the experts as well, and we will address those. So actually, I'm going to ask the first of my questions, and then we'll take some of the questions from the audience, and then we'll come back to the second one. So based on everything that you have learned over the years, and your experience, how are you looking to evolve and adapt your approach to attract even more women? So I'll start with you, Erin, and do round robin.
I think the strategy, I suppose, is very similar to what we have to attract all customers. I mean, we're not necessarily a women-only environment. So I think if I have to now speak on behalf of my whole team, which thank goodness they're not here, I'm now literally going to be speaking on their behalf. But I think we're living in a world where we already said we're time-starved, and we already mentioned that this is an economy and a generation and future generations of instant gratification. So if we just look at those two things, I think something very important that we're going to do to increase the opportunities for all people to access financial services, but particularly for women who are experiencing these things on steroids, is that we want to make sure that we remove. So firstly, I want to just caveat by saying that I know that there's necessary friction that people build into a journey that they almost dress up as the process of educating. Throughout that process, you have to build in certain obstacles so that people go through it and they actually understand what they're engaging with. But I think we're so focused on some of those elements that we almost over-engineer the process and we start losing simplicity. And I think that's what I love about the forum, is that we keep coming back to simple, clear, transparent communication and making sure that when we do the products and the offerings, that we actually concentrate more on instant feedback. So when somebody comes through the journey, that we provide them with instant real-time feedback, because that's what they deserve. They've already started engaging with us by virtue of being in the journey. And then after that, service them to death. I always caution my team around this whole one-night stand type situation. We put all the money, all the effort around creating awareness and engaging, and then going on the dates and getting them to arrive with us there and opting into the service. And then we don't even bother to give them once we've got them on the date, the next day, we don't even call back. So then there's almost this thing that I have you, you're here, and we now communicate almost transactionally from there based on the type of product or service that they opted into. And the relationship very quickly goes almost from a courting to a transactional type conversation. And I think what we really as an industry need to do better is to make sure that we keep that momentum and that excitement and that surprise and delight process going throughout the journey, to ensure that we build that loyalty and brand affinity, which will ultimately lead to attracting more customers. And as I said, I'm very hesitant to speak on the team, but it's so important to actually build that brand affinity. Word of mouth is the new above the line or out of home type advertising. People are going to be talking about you on platforms. Let it be something good that they're saying about you.
Amazing. How about you, Ifeoma?
Okay, so the question is, how do
you see evolving or adapting your approach to attract even more women?
Okay, so one is, we want to create an energy and we don't want to be the center of the energy. So let me give you an instance. We had a mixer 2 Saturdays ago, and just one person from my marketing team. It was supposed to be, bring your own drinks. And I came here and I saw a bunch of women, and I saw her in the boardroom sitting down, and a bunch of 40 to 50 women having fun on their own with just one person from Shecluded in the boardroom. And that's what I noticed that can help us scale. How do we make people very loyal and passionate about the brand, that they can form their own ecosystem of Shecluded energy around without us expanding and bearing that cost? So that's it. How do we build a movement where people are, oh, I'm Shecluded and I'm somewhere in the north, and, I like this company, I like what they stand for, and, I can maintain that energy. So how do we scale without expanding, and we're able to expand the culture, the energy, the things that women like without necessarily spending money? That's one for me. Number 2 is, how do we monetize? So we know that, the whole hugs and the whole caring is very important, but yeah, we're in business. And the only reason that, we're still here is because we're making money. So how do we monetize that hugs? And I mean, we started out trying to say, hey, if we're coming to an event, we have merch for sale. And we found out that everybody bought the merch, and it's again to know that even when you look at women, you need to know that you need to train yourself not to look at women the way that, you know, they all look at women, which is, oh, we're trying to help them. Women are the top spenders. So if you give them value, how do you try to monetize that energy? Because that keeps it long on a long term. So we're also thinking about products and just things around monetization to make that stay long. Another thing that we always believe is at the core of scale is problem solving. What are the other problems that are low-hanging fruits and that can deepen us with them? Do you get? And that's something that we're also researching to see that and what are they and what do they look like? So those are the top 3 things that I'm looking at.
Thank you, Ifeoma. Patricia, how are you looking at, you know, evolving and adapting your approach?
Sure. So what we're doing at Pilou is, you know, like further integrating technology and to personalize the customer experience. So along the Pilou journey, we call it, like we really want to make it, you know, as Erin said, you know, like very simple, clear, transparent, you know, easy to use and understand products and onboarding process. So also, like when we actually get the client, we are there for them like 24/7. Like they've mentioned, like our customer experience and our customer satisfaction like is very high. So you know, through the use of technology, we have been doing, you know, like quarterly reports, like very easy to understand quarterly reports, so that women are learning with us. We're not just like, okay, so give me your money, I will manage it, and I will be your financial advisor. But we're also trying for them to really, like, you know, learn from us, so that eventually, like, they can go ahead and diversify their investments into other things, not just investment accounts. So, you know, technology is one. Another one is definitely strategic partnerships with organizations that advocate for women's rights and financial literacy. We've done like several partnerships, and we aim to continue doing that. And you know, this has really helped us reach a wider audience. So our goal is to continuously adapt to the changing needs of women and like make really Pilou a lifelong financial partner. And yeah, I mean, I guess basically that's a way we have been attracting more women clients.
Amazing. I am going to start taking the questions from the chat, and then we can come back to my final question. We have a question from Christine Beats, and she asked, do you specifically say that you are focused on women, or do you find that saying that you are women-focused is a negative message? I'm going to daringly start with you, Erin, because you are at least you are the only
very outspoken
not
about
purely
this,
women
clearly.
focused, but I'd love to hear your take on that first.
No, look, I mean, let me deal with the question philosophically. I think being, whether you say focus on women or women focus, I mean, for me, it's semantics. So when we started Zeno, which is the Women Entrepreneurship Networking platform, I suppose, I don't know why, but I was absolutely surprised, happily surprised to see the massive support that we've generated across the industry, male and female, which meant to me that there is a need that we are identifying and that we are addressing, and that's what people are respecting, irrespective of how we dress it up. So I think the support came from the intent and from truly caring, and people were less worried about how we went about positioning that in the market. And I think anybody in financial services understand the reality and the nature thereof, and have huge respect for people almost brave enough to venture into that unknown, or pioneering into that unknown and uncharted environment. And I think that's where the massive support's coming from.
Thank you. Ifeoma and Patricia, I'd like your quick takes on that as well.
So for me, I think that I just felt like when I started Shecluded, my thinking was like, it's just like somebody that wanted to start a fish farm, and she went and started a fish farm. And I think I was surprised when I started hearing, why not men? And I started noticing that, wait a minute, does this mean that I'm excluding men? And for me, I think I thought about it logically, and I said, no, there are companies that sell just chicken. It doesn't mean they're excluding fish, turkey, whatever. So I just saw a problem, and this is demographics that I wanted to deal with. And that's what I'm doing. I think that that's it. I don't engage in, long conversations that are not beneficial to me. So yeah, so I'm aware that sometimes it can come off as negative, but actually that's what I'm doing. I'm just a female-focused fintech company. Doesn't mean that anything. It just means like somebody that wants to start a fish farm and not a chicken farm. That's the way I explain it. Thank you.
Amazing. Very,
I
very
love it.
nicely put. Thank you. Patricia, how about you?
So yeah, I mean, we've always been openly women-focused fintech, and I mean, yeah, I guess we're not afraid to say that, because in Latin America, like, female have been like overlooked and left behind by financial institutions. They don't speak to them, to us. So so yeah, I guess also, I mean, at Pilou, 70% of our users are female, but 30% of our users are male. So it's amazing, but sometimes when we like get a podcast out or have an event or something, it's amazing that next day a lot of men actually open accounts. So even though our communication and everything is targeted to women, oftentimes men also think like, okay, so no platform is speaking to the people like you guys are doing. So yeah, I want to be part of the community and I want your services, and they're happy with them. So I mean, you know, targeting to women and speaking to women directly has not been, a stopper to have a male and female or any gender in our platform. So it has been good for all people, actually.
Okay, perfect. So we have a question from Alexa. I'll ask it. Maybe you give me a quick show of hand with a yes, no. Do you partner with development finance institutions to promote your initiatives? So we're talking like the IFCs and the IDBs of the world. Ifeoma does, and she's the only one. Can you maybe give a very quick 30-second answer of how you do it? So maybe to inspire others.
See a grant targeted at women, apply for it. You get lucky, it's a yes. You don't get lucky, try next time.
Amazing. Okay. We have a question for Erin about the brand partnership idea that you talked about. Can you maybe provide an example? That's what Diana is looking for.
I'm going to try and keep this very quick. And I did say I'll reach out to her separately, because I think this is a conversation on its own to give examples. But as a banking business banking service provider, point of sale devices are important because, especially in the unsecured financing environment, transactions is what qualifies the amount that a company can qualify for. And instead of necessarily putting point of sale devices into the market as an acquisition channel, we would partner with
countries. Sorry, go ahead.
We would, for example, partner with some of the leading point of sale providers in the market and embed the capital as a white label product on those platforms. And that essentially becomes the ownership of the customers is shared by both entities, us for the capital and them for the point of sale platform. And it enhances their product because they offer capital that other point of sale providers don't. And it enhances our offering because the journey is slick in 7 seconds and it's pre-qualified. So people don't even have to apply. The money arrives through a pre-qualified process and they just decide whether they want to opt in or not. So I think that's just one example. I mean, I can give a few others, but that's what I was referring to from an ecosystem point of view, by having very smart partnerships in the different market segments to create almost a holistic offering.
Perfect. Thank you for that example. So I have a couple of more questions. So we have a question in Spanish, which I translated with and understood that it means, how do you make sure that your approach is not considered pink marketing or pink washing? So why don't I take Ifeoma's point on that, and maybe Patricia's as well.
So, well,
Unless it's pink fish in your case, Ifeoma, simply.
so I think that yeah, I know after a while it started being very cliche with the whole pink thingy, but I think that for me, I just look at what works. Whether pink washing works, I do it. If it doesn't work, I don't do it.
Nicely put. Patricia? Very quick, so that we
so-
take a couple of more questions, please.
Sure. So I guess like really understanding your audience. So we've seen and we've lived these problems firsthand. So we understand the pain points, and we can create, like genuine and relatable messages to through our campaigns, through a different, a diverse I mean, we're women, but we're not all the same. So we try to really show diversity, represent the true diversity of women in our campaigns, and offer, real solutions and real support, not just like empty slogans. Also, I don't know, like collaborating with women and involve women in the creation of our marketing strategies, like has also been a crucial part. And, our team at Pilou we're mostly women, so we understand them, and I think that
Perfect.
that also permeates in or translates in what we're doing.
Perfect. So we have a question from Jose. We're going to take 30-second answers so that we try and squeeze the answer from Kieran as well. How do you define and measure success? Maybe just list a few of the KPIs that you look into.
So very quickly, we want to be the top bank provider. We measure it in 3 ways, obviously through active customers, not just customer base, and the value that we create there. And then the 2 others are personally very close to heart, is the customer satisfaction and customer experience, which gets measured on an ongoing basis. And the 3rd one is actually our employee experience. And our employees are our greatest ambassadors. And if we don't have a great employee experience, then none of the other 2 really matters in the short or long term. So that's the one that we actually focus on first.
Perfect. Thank you, Ifeoma.
So for us, I think we look at revenue, and we look at active customers, and we look at new products that we're able to sell to them.
Perfect.
So those are the things.
Yeah. And actually, I mean, for us, it's our assets under management. We have like very specific targets for year end on what we manage. Right now, we're managing over $50 million in assets under management, and we have specific targets. Also, our active customers as well. It's a very important KPI. And actually, increasing our community building, it's also very, very important for us.
Amazing. So there's a question to the 3 of you, at least actually not to Ifeoma and Patricia mostly, I guess. Was it difficult to access financing to start your own business? So you as the entrepreneur right now, was it difficult, Ifeoma?
Yes, it was. I mean, when I was starting Shecluded in 2019, the first person I said it was a bad idea. So I know that what helped me was that I've worked for over 10 years and I had a saving. So I needed to put my money where my heart is. And I know that before we got the first $100,000 seed, we already had revenue and we already had customers. So, yeah.
Thank you. Patricia?
So yeah, I mean, it has definitely been and continues to be a struggle. I mean, we haven't had but only one like VC funding, and the rest have been like angel investors, friends and family, and also yeah, I mean mostly and family offices. But all of this was mainly because of people we knew from our banking experience and that they knew us and our work and what we're doing. But VC funding is very, very hard for us women,
Yeah.
at
To
least
show
in
you
my
the power
experience
of
and
networks.
what I've heard.
And goes
Yeah,
to show you also the power of networks, because it is the people you knew within your network that actually were able to fund you and put you where you are today. So it just for women, it's just so critical. So
exactly.
thank you, all of that. I'm going to stop the questions. I want to wrap it up quickly because we are on the hour. So what I learned today are a few things. So women are top spenders, they're loyal, and the impact they have is on their children and family and society. So one, it is super important to actually target them because they are going to be the best clients you can imagine. Things to not do is, or things to do is make sure you avoid the one night stand approach, which I loved, Erin, which is just when you get them, don't forget about them, don't make them a number as part of your clients, but actually make sure that you have a journey afterwards with them. The most important things to remember is much more important than paper. It is people. The connection with people is so important. We heard it from all three of you. Communication, the approach being problem solving, creating that support mechanism, being transparent and honest, and then being very practical, populating, forms and whatever you can. Stop asking for the same information over and over. Empowering women with knowledge and information, providing them network, which is very, very important. And then finally, making sure that you are creating partnerships. So finding where women are, creating partnerships, working with institutions, using word of mouth, being out there as much as possible, podcasts, social media, to be able to really promote and find them where they are, where they feel comfortable and when they feel trust. So thank you, everyone. I want to do one very quick thing, if you will allow me. I want to put a survey out there and to really capture your feedback on the session. So 1 is a bad mark, 5 is a great one. So just tell us what you think of this session. It'll help us build future ones accordingly as well. Thank you to my amazing panel of experts. Thank you for Patricia for getting on the call this early. Thank you to Erin and Ifeoma for giving me your Friday afternoon. It has been great. Thank you to my audience for being on the line, for asking questions, for being engaged. We will be reconnecting in a couple of months for the next Fintech Fridays. So please keep checking your emails. I will be in touch soon with the next session. Thank you, everyone, and wishing you a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
And then the session is recorded and it's going to be on our YouTube playlist where all Fintech Fridays are by end of day today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.